Okay, uh, let's do a little bit of an update. I added a little bit of new soil in the middle because I got a couple of new plants and Iriacolon. It's called like a Qualanger or something. I can't pronounce it. Q. Some people call it Crimson King, but it's inaccurate. But that's what they look like right there. They're kind of like blood vomits, a little bit bigger. Added a little bit of soil right there. Put a new partition rock right there. Um, pulled out some of the aromaticas, which you can see have been filed down pretty low. I got some Pogostamos stylitis type 2 growing back behind them, and you can see the pantanols back behind there. I've got some of these Ludwigia grandulosas. Some people call them periwensis. They're actually called grandulosas. But I got one up here. I got some planted down there. But this corner is a little bit crowded for now, but that's just the way it is for now. And my Persicaria, the longleaf red ones that are tall, they're right there. Those Ludwigia inclinatas that I had in the middle, like that one in the grass there, I moved them to this corner. So hard to see, but there's one chopped off, and this is what's going on this corner. My Walichis that were in the middle before, kind of in the middle sort of, they're just off to the side now. So I moved a couple pieces of stargrass to the corner here, but this is a very unmanageable plant. It grows super fast, ridiculous speed, and they're big, so I may just take them out. The Bacopa Carolinianas, I filed those down really low, and I got, well, here's some, yeah, so there's some Sophias growing back right here. Now here on the left of it, you see one stem of Ludwigia senegalensis. I just got some of these from a friend, and here's a couple right here. They look beat up and bad right now, but I pulled those Carolinianas out from over here and added a little bit of new powder type soil so that they could have a better time growing. I may end up moving them because this is a low flow area, so I'm not sure how well they'll do. Ludwigia senegalensis is a very sensitive plant. Let's see if I can zoom in on it, but they're real pretty. Yeah, hard to zoom in. You see the Sophias, they're like flat and straight, but senegalensis, yeah, they look pretty bad. I'll show you what they look like if I can bounce them back. Anyways, so these guys were like these Rotala mini type 2s. They were all the way over here. I trimmed all those off and threw them in a bucket outside. Now I got this bush of them left here, so they're looking pretty good. I don't have the blue light on right now, like, you know, with the blue light with it, it's brighter, but my blue light's a lot brighter than the red one, so I just left it off because I just did some trimming and some stuff like in here while the CO2 was supposed to be building during that time. That whole time I was doing water changing and some trimming and moss pulling and moving some plants and some stuff in the pathway around. So while I was doing that stuff and taking care of things, the CO2 wasn't building because I had the water level down, the filter off. So now that I've refilled it and everything, and I got the CO2 stays going, but it's I'll show you. So the CO2 comes out right here and goes to this tube, and it goes to a reactor, and through here, through the outflow. This is my CO2. It's a Quanbi, same as CO2R, I believe. Well, it was cheap, like 20 bucks at Buse Plant, but ever since I've gotten that, my CO2 has been way better than before when I tried diffusers. But anyways, so the CO2 just kept going and going, but it was just making a little air bubble here and there that just popped out of there, went to nowhere. So since CO2 isn't built up, I just let the one light be on, because like I said, this is super bright. So I'll just go with the slightly lower one. And if you're curious what it looks like with just plain white light, well, let me turn off that one under here. This is with just, what, 5 tiny plain white lights, and they're weak. This is what it looks like with just plain white light. But we're running the red one for now. The Rotalas that I had trimmed back here, they're growing back. They haven't got their color all in yet, but they're starting to get their color. There are some reds in there. You can see them. My arcuatas on the corner, they don't really have any color yet. I'm not sure if they're going to get any, but I might just trim those guys down, because look how deep they are. I might just like pull them all out and put a couple stems right here like I had before, and where the Rotala start behind the big piece of wood. But that's about it. Nothing really going on here. Just did a lot of like water changing and stuff, and just waiting for things to grow back in and trying to decide where to put things, because I'm kind of planning on ripping this scape apart and redoing it again soon, because some of the plants I'd like to move around, but I can't because there's no room. So I would have to kind of rip a whole lot of it out, like rearranging a living room. I'd have to rip a few things out and move them. And my one Ludwigia white back there, it's still growing in slow motion there, but it's kind of growing. Rotala Pearl, Rotala Mini Type 2 is a mutation plant, and I've had a couple that are kind of unmutating back to original form, which is Macandra green. So right here, those are Rotala Macandra. Well, it's from the Mini Type 2 bush, but you can see how different they look. They're turning back into a Rotala Macandra green. And so I separated them to see how they do, like if they grow into their own form, or if they just kind of stay like that halfway, slightly fatter version. So gonna be changing some things up and getting rid of some plants here soon. And it's hard for me to let go of plants. I really like plants, and I have some that I don't want to get rid of, but in order to not get rid of them, they take up a lot of space, some of them. But I do have stuff like these grandulosas that I really want to grow out, and the pantanols have been doing good, so I really kind of want to make like a whole thing of them, like how I do Rotalas. But that's gonna take some making some space. That's how this tank is going. Show you the side, and you know, all the buses are doing well and everything. I know this bush is in the way, it's just there for no reason, but that's because this is Rotala Singapore. It's separate because it's just Rotala Singapore. Because in here I have Rotala Orange Juice, Singapore, Ceylon Pink, and in the back, the couple like really red twiggy ones that are thinner, those are Rotala H-Ros, which I wasn't big on those, so I got rid of them, but I still had a few left in there, pop up once in a while. Of course, it's hard to tell Rotalas really apart when they really get growing with the good light. That's it. That's the tank. Like when you're sitting on the couch, it looks like this. Anyways, that's about the only update I have. The grass is growing in, filling in. The Monte Carlo on the left is good. I ripped the Monte Carlo out on the right side because it was growing all crappy because, like I said, low flow area. Most of the flow in CO2 goes to the left side of the tank and circles back around. So that's it. See y'all around.